Alright, so among other things, one of my priorities here is going to be to try to see if I can find a shrine or something to make people happy before I get to the next fight or something. Your Grace, 2 of your subjects humbly request aid. Yarplek and Wilmer, they call themselves. Seems a wagon's axle snapped and they need to hurry to the market. What are your orders? You can just be like, fuck 'em. I'm out. Summon the camp overseers, have them see what can be done, or a few pieces of gold should suffice. I'm interpreting what's looking. What am I looking here? So you spend wood to get gold, or you spend gold and does that saying I gain? Is that saying that I'll regain the morale? Because I'll do that. A few pieces of gold should suffice. Yay! My people are happy. So I gave them a little gold. Like, here, deal with it. I'm out. And that apparently led to morale increasing, I guess because they didn't have to deal with working on it or something. I'm not really entirely sure how the morale works, so sometimes they just tell me what will happen. My queen, a stray of Spala was found inside the dwelling. He was wounded during the siege on Hawksbourne, then abandoned by his comrades. The location of their spoils he offered to share, that is, should we spare his life? Do I want to lower the morale in order to get more loot? Or kill him to raise the morale again, making the next fight easier? Damn it. I do want the loot, but also want my... damn it. By a cur of this sort, I will not be bribed. Hang him! There you go, you fuckos better be happy with me now. You cost me loot. They're happy now, right? So, like, you know, does that make up for me not murdering the civilians? Interesting how the outcomes of my decisions are just being blatantly exposed now. I wonder if I can still find the loot after having let him live. Can I go down this? No? Nope. Even though it's like one step away from being there. We gotta go all the way around. How do I get in there? Oh, you go all the way around. I see you there. What's the puzzle gonna be? I'm curious about that.
That rumble. What is it?
Look out! Rock slide!
A rock slide puzzle. Oh. It's not like, wow, play this fun little sliding tile puzzle thing. Maybe there's treasure inside the box. It's like, no, horrible bad things will happen and turn out to be a puzzle solution thing. In a flash, Reynard leapt for Meve, wresting the queen from her saddle. Had he arrived a moment later, Meve would have met her fate under a massive boulder. Alas, she was not yet free from danger. The entire escarpment began to collapse onto the road, along with the temple wall that stood atop it. The screams of crushed and dying soldiers cast a somber shadow upon the queen. Yet she needed to collect her wits and act quickly to establish control over her unit. Destroy old boulders? Actually destroy them, not just like avoid them or something. Wow. I would kind of inherently think, because of the timing of this being so specific, that we were being attacked by the strays. Special rules. Follow the main objectives to win the puzzle or battle. Puzzle. Complete the puzzle by following the special rules. Alright. Do this to do that. Do this to do that. Shorten the battle. This will only last one round. Custom deck. Alright. So this will be some sort of unique little brain teaser scenario. This battle will only last one round. We just start off in round 3. Special rules is destroy old boulders. Some battles are subject to special rule sets where strength alone is not enough to win. To be victorious, you must complete specific goals. On the exploration map, such battles are marked with a puzzle icon. In this particular puzzle battle, your goal is to destroy all the boulders before they reach Maeve's row.
The bluff crumbles! Fall back! yourselves! Your Grace, the wagon. We can use it as cover. Forward. We must move it forward.
Place the Wagenburg on the melee row. Alright.
What now?
Meanwhile, boulders are just coming down at me. When the unit's timer expires, it moves one row down. Ah, so it's a few turns. Or that one's gonna go down this turn, then that one, then that one. They all take turns. Those are probably the only boulders then. Yeah, the enemy has a deck of 13. That's terrifying. Passed. Is this just, I think this is an order of operations recounter, right? I think. I'm not totally sure. I don't think I need to read this though. Put that away.
You're far fewer than I presume. Summon your comrades, damn it. Chop chop before I reach for my whip.
We're working it. Play an arbalist on the melee row, then attack the boulder closest to Meve. Yeah. Can I use your ability? No? So that one does 2 damage, but as I stack more of them, they'll do even more damage. And if I can get this high enough in value, I'll even do bonus damage against the other boulders later. Whoa. Okay. Did not realize that they would move once per turn. Whoops. I thought that, yeah, I didn't pay attention to that. I thought that every 3 turns they were going to move, but they were going to be staggered a bit. But no, they're just staggered on their starting time. Place another arbalist in the melee row, then attack the boulder. Yeah. Note the arbalist deal damage equal to the number of units in the row. Yeah, I know that too. Status for a unit played on or moved to the opposite side of the battlefield. Oh, that's how they show that. Yeah, oh yeah, it says when timer expires, move 1 row towards the opponent, then set timer to 1. So it's always going to be 1. They're just going to move every turn then, is what that's basically saying. Someday, when you are older, you could get hit by a boulder. What the fuck? I have 3 armor. I'm gonna play the next one. Be able to do a lot of damage, basically, yeah. Attack the boulder closest to Meve. It'll do enough damage to destroy the boulder on its own. Oh! 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 damage. It says every card on this row. So the arbalist gets bonus damage from enemies being on its tile, which I don't know if that ever comes up outside of this kind of puzzle scenario, but that's important. Yeah, I understand what's going on. Let's do this. There we go.
We've come through, Raymond. I thank you.
And maybe approximately 4 hours into the game, I'll start making my own decisions during combat. It's a bit handholdy.
The temple collapsed. The buttress is doubtless damaged by something.
Or someone. There's naught we can do here. We ride on.
It was definitely someone. You're in the middle of a conflict with someone, and the moment that the you walked by a thing, it happened to collapse directly at the Queen. There's like no chance of that being a coincidence. I haven't passed anything, have I? Evidently I have. Oh, I know that's because that's around in the corner back into the loot room. Alright. I might find everything anyway just by being explorative, but that said, spending 50 isn't that big of an ask. Seems like there's way more here than the map was indicating, though. Aw, that haystack's wearing a hat. Is that a dwarf? It is.
A peasant cart, loaded with a heap of hay, came rattling down the road from the opposite direction.
Clear the road!
Bellowed Count Caldwell, standing in his stirrups.
Make way for your queen!
The peasants obediently turned their cart into the roadside nettles. As she passed, Meve glanced towards it and froze. Atop the hay bale lay a badly wounded man gripped by fever. The thick, sweet stench of rot wafted from his bandaged legs.
Gods. Who did this to him?
Meve asked.
Bandits?
Nay, milady,
Replied the cartman.
'twere a beast. Out to the east, down Wetterton way, lies a boneyard, old as the elves, they say.
The peasant continued.
Clayton was setting snares round about there. Came running back to us, drenched in blood, rattling on about a long-haired wench come climbing out a grave. We's taken him to the good sisters of Melitele here on bridge. Perhaps they can help him.
I'm certain they can. And will.
Replied the queen. Though just looking at the wounded wretch, she knew he'd expire before nightfall.
God speed you on your journey.
The queen whistled, and her mare resumed its trot.
Shall I send for a witcher, your grace?
Caldwell asked.
One of those freaks should make short work of the monster.
Until we apprehend the bandits, I shan't allow a single soul to leave our company. Even on such an important mission as finding a witcher.
Meve replied.
Any who did would be captured at once. But, if fate brings us near Wetterton, perhaps we'll see to this monstrous harridan ourselves.
Your grace, we've only just fought beasts and scarcely escaped with our lives. This she-beast will take a silver sword. Magic formulae.
Yet a dozen arbalists will have to suffice.
The queen said, calmly but firmly.
And please, Caldwell, do stiffen your spine a bit. Now onward.
Shots fired at Caldwell, who, you know, does kind of suck. Here ends the main part of the tutorial. From now on, you're on your own. Good luck. Yay! And I got an achievement. Ew. I need to figure out how to disable those notifications. Oh, Shift Tab opens the GOG interface just as much as it opens the one on Steam. Unfortunately, I do not know. Oh. None of these buttons seem to indicate how to change settings. And you guys can't see any of this because it doesn't even... It's just an overlay that doesn't show up in the recording. Huh. I think you guys heard that achievement, but didn't see it, too. Making things even more confusing. But it's just one for being the tutorial. The tutorial's over! Now I can just wander around and check things out and wander around this map, and there's the objective. Better stay away from there as long as possible. Let's talk to the dwarf guy. And go around in this area for a bit, maybe. Or there? Which one should I prioritize? Let's talk to... There's a cave and a dwarf over here. I want to see both those things. I'm curious to see how the Witcher comes into play in this story, because Geralt is teased in the artwork, but is clearly not the protagonist this time around. Being able to play as a variety...
Just the folk are beyond shite.
I'm already going towards Wetterton. Are the names on the map? Seems like a no. Yeah, seems like no. But that guy was nice enough to tell me I'm off to Wetterton. Let's take a look inside.
As they neared Wetterton, the queen ordered her company to halt. She then sent men to the town for supplies. Those sent returned more quickly than she'd assumed they would, their satchels empty, their mounts foaming at the mouth.
Your Majesty, the townsfolk have gone right mad. Herded all the elves and dwarves at Market Square. 'Tis a slaughter.
The queen knew well that if she failed to intervene, the town's streets would flow with non-human blood. Just as she knew her meager force might not subdue an enraged crowd.
So either we enter Wetterton and defend the non-humans, or we move on without. But we might suffer losses to my forces or morale. But I've got to defend the non-humans.
What is your command, your grace?
Reynard's question pierced the silence.
What can it be, dear friend?
Answered the queen, then spurred her mount and rode off towards the town. Her troops followed, running as fast as their legs would carry them. When they passed inside the town gate, they saw corpses lining the gutters. Meve realized she had arrived too late to prevent a tragedy. The crowd was drunk on blood. Its rage would need to be quelled with an iron fist.
Oh no. We're here to beat up villagers. This won't go well for, you know, morale, probably. Hey, soldiers, please kill these peasants. Or maybe they won't care. People are kind of dicks in like, medieval storylines to their own people. Unfortunately, this was not Lyria's first pogrom, nor its last. Although the wars between humans and the elder races had ended decades past, elves and dwarves were still painfully aware of how quickly rumor can turn to hatred. It does not take long before pitchforks and flails are taken to the streets, and the cobblestones are stained crimson with blood. Eliminate all foes. It's a puzzle one, huh? There's special rules here. Let's find out. And now I'm in control, and I suffer the consequences, and I do not know how this game handles failure. Like, is there a branching storyline when I fail something, or does it just be like, try again? Eliminate all foes.
Or see your heads bounce down the cobblestones.
The voice acting's great. The visuals are great. It's easy to be a little over impressed because everything looks. This game has the vague trappings and aesthetic of like an indie game, but it's of course basically a AAA game because CD Projekt Red runs GOG. They've got money at this point. Between the success of Witcher 3 and the entirety of GOG, they got money. I just eliminate all foes. Angry mob. Every turn on turn start, set this unit's power equal to the number of angry mobs in this row. Status that allows the card to remain at round end. Well, there isn't really multiple rounds anyway. It's not easy quelling an angry mob, especially if their geese are of the same mind. So they have got mob mentality in a very direct sense, which is that these guys get their power is equal to the number of people on that row. That means you can't damage them unless you defeat them. Every turn on turn start, set the unit's power equal to the number of angry mobs in this row. That means that they will heal, basically. Damage only counts really if we actually defeat them, because they just are based on unit count, and the best way to defeat them would be to change what row they're on, which is a problem because I don't think I have units that change what row things are on, but they might give me unique units. Okay, so you give people the ability to reuse their power, but you can't attack. This guy damages all units on a row based on the armor amount, so I need to get this. That's probably the main puzzle, huh? Get this thing to enough armor to wipe out the entire row in one hit. And then they'll all be gone. Spawn 2 light infantry on the right. Okay, how do I lose? Like two light infantry. This is 3 spawns, so that's plus 3 armor to the guy that has X amount of armor. Huh. That's interesting. Will I draw more cards? Or is this it? I mean, mechanically you don't draw more cards, so I guess that'd probably be it. Play the top blitz unit from your deck. Damage unit based on the number of cards in your row. I think we want the Wagenburg.
Reynard, who started this? I must know. So much hatred. We must put a stop to it.
So you have 1 ability use. I can refresh it next turn, but that won't refresh how much damage it does.
Got any victuals? Hungry like a wolf, I am.
I'm just double checking. You can only attack an enemy row with this. I was like, what if I attack my light infantry? If they die, they'll cause damage. Move to another row. Damage a random enemy by 5. What if they can they move into an enemy row? I wonder. What if they can move into an enemy row and then you blow them up with the the Wagenburg, and then then those guys take damage, making them weaker. That could be interesting. Looks like I can't use my class ability right now. Nope, nope, they just walk backwards into the previous row, which is not a good move. Whenever a card appears in this row. Oh. That's interesting. It gives one charge to units with a depleted order, but it doesn't give them to ones on the same row. It just gives them to all my units that have depleted order. I want these guys to move backwards. Then when I play this guy, this will give him +1 attack. Then these two will move back down to give him +2 attack.
Her Majesty knows we must strike the largest clusters. Disperse the mob.
There we go. There we go. That's a fun little sequence. So that just taught me a trick I can use in battle. You can make the infantry change rows twice using that guy, and they'll buff up the power of the wall. The wagon blah blah.
Happily, Meve restored order without suffering any losses. Reynard then learned that a nobleman's ire had triggered the violence, ire at having discovered a theft.
Suspicion fell on the non-humans he employed. He accused them, they protested, and the row soon engulfed the town. But there's something else, Your Grace.
Reynard gestured towards an aged man who stood grieving, his face in his hands.
I've witnesses who claim the strays of Sparla are the thieves.
Though the tragedy seemed the result of a misunderstanding, justice would have to be served. Those responsible for the slaughter would need to be punished. The question was, how severely?
A nobleman discovered a theft, so they started mass slaughtering the minority groups because they were accused of said theft. Man, you guys really have a heart for the nobleman, apparently. They didn't even steal from your food or anything like that. So you can either have them hanged or have my own men whip them, which might affect my morale, but mass slaughter just reduces this population so severely. I'm gonna go with whipping.
You are guilty. That can't be denied,
said the Queen, turning towards the bloody rioting's instigators.
A false rumor you took and turned into a cruel lynch. Thus punishment is your lot. A public lashing, fines, imprisonment. But you shall keep your lives, for enough blood has been spilt here this day.
We'll see if that just gets worse, and if they just go back to it. I don't know. It said, you've chosen one evil over another, I think is what it said.
Wetterton's inhabitants breathed a sigh of relief. But the non-human survivors took offense at the lenient sentence. Soon after, the Lyrian army's elves and dwarves quietly disappeared, deserted. Few doubted the reason. They would not risk their necks for a queen who held their lives in such low regard.
Not gonna get a lot of positive outcomes in this thing, huh? Whippings are too lenient, and so now I'm losing those members of my army. We're doing great so far. Definitely feeling like every decision I make is wrong, which takes me back to playing Walking Dead.
They should have stayed put beneath their mount. We'd not have had no problem then. They should have stayed put beneath...
Alright, you bunch of racist fucks. Jesus. That'll add some new things. Yeah, right down there. Point of interest. Oh, those are shields. I'm like, why are there like little painter's palettes everywhere? At this scale, it's a little harder to tell apart. Well, damn. Is this the cave where the ghost exists? My lady, the locals claim a treasure is hidden within the cave. We can send a small detachment to learn what truth there is to the rumor. I must admit, at first glance, it appears rather treacherous. I can't guarantee everyone will return in one piece, if at all. So you can trade 2 lives for 200 gold. What a I mean, that's just callous. Even if the gold is a little useful, just sacrificing 2 people. It's especially rough because it's not framed as a gamble. It's just a straight up like, yeah, those 2 are gonna die. Like, boom, they're dead. It doesn't say like, ooh, maybe, ooh, the dice roll, see what happens. If we were to trust the word of a peasant, we'll venture into every cave in search of a dragon and its mountain of gold. No, this blathering we shall ignore. Oh, can you keep going back? You can keep going back and be like, I don't know, man. What if it's really good? Oh, that's the thing. It's one of those guys. Ah, I was expecting the ghost that comes out of the well.
The Lyrians entered the graveyard. Crickets chirped in its tall, windswept grass, and lush green moss covered its crumbling gravestones. Only a fresh bloodstain upon a mausoleum wall suggested that something disturbed the dead in their rest and hunted the living.
Save your tears, throw earth your grief.
An eerie voice sang, its ghastly lament standing Meve's hair on end.
Soon your life too shall cease as you pass into the eternal glow.
A pockmarked, pustule-ridden creature crawled out from behind some gravestones. It vaguely resembled a shriveled, hunchbacked hag, until its head split into 2 halves, forming a tooth-spiked maw.
Attack! Everyone!
That's a new one. Not used to the hag's skulls splitting in half. That's horrifying. What exactly was the monster Meve encountered at the cemetery? The inhabitants of Wetterton called it a Mourner. They believed it to be a she-elf driven mad after her children were killed. From time to time, she would return to their graves to light candles, lay flowers. Kill the grave hag. Another puzzle fight. Getting a lot of individual encounters into here because they're all puzzles. But it's a nice change of pace. Oh, God. What am I looking at over here? So kill the grave hag is the goal. Just that one. They have a power of 48. When a rot fiend is deploys, it spawns a base copy of this unit. So it creates additional copies of itself. Did it didn't have that effect last time, did it? Then Death Wishes damage all units on this row by 4. So that you can create a chain reaction where they all start exploding, and as a result, they'd end up destroying the grave hag. Oh. Every 2 turns on turn start, destroy the lowest units. Cannot be targeted. Most grave hags feed on rotten remains dug out of graves, yet some sneak into huts, steal children, kill the elderly, and in general make very undesirable neighbors. Okay, so my goal here is going to be to make it so that the 4 things on the row with it have the lowest power any given turn. Because if I do, she'll destroy me, and then I'm screwed. But if I have the more power than they do, then she'll destroy her own units, causing 4 damage to herself each time. And you have to do it all 4 of them need to be killed by her, or me, I guess. And then she'll she'll die as a result of that, because she has 16 health, and she does not... You can't be targeting her at all. Great. It says 2 turns. I should avoid this unit, I think. Did they? Yeah, they don't let me use my power, so I can't use my leader's ability to boost it. These have 6, which is lower than these guys, but these guys puts a copy of each adjacent unit from my deck, and my deck's full of Arbalists. So I'm gonna want to play 2 I'm gonna want to play 2 Arbalists probably. Damage a unit based on the number of cards in this row. I'll play one of them, damage one of them down to 7 health, play a second one, damage it down to 5 health. So at that point, she will then kill that one. Then at that point, I can use this guy and place him between them, hopefully to then make it so that 2 more spawn, and then we can do all sorts of damage all over the place, further ensuring that the enemies will have less health than I do. I think that's the way to go.
One bolt. Give me a time.
This will be 2 damage. Yeah, I need to do it to this guy because he'll then have 5, so we won't die. If he had 6, then we would be tied with them, and based on how sabotage and whatnot worked, or whatever, or scourge or burn or whatever it was in the previous game, the unit killing card, whenever people were tied, it killed all of them. All right, so she killed that one. They've all taken 4 damage. Ah, right, that part. That makes this pretty easy, actually. I forgot that they'd also damage each other, not just her.
Time I taught you some respect.
Here's a few extra copies. 4 damage. And it's over, right? There we go. Easy. It went faster than I expected because I forgot that they'd be damaging each other.
What was that filth?
The queen croaked hoarsely as the dying monster writhed in agony at her feet.
I know not, your grace,
replied Reynard.
But to be safe, I would have the corpse chopped up and burned. Elsewise, we will not be certain it shall not return.
Yes, have it done,
Meve said, brushing her hair from her beaded brow.
but quickly, lest dust catch us in this foul place.
The Lyrians soon resumed their march. As they left the cemetery behind them, some believed they still heard the haunting dirge upon the air. Or was it just the wind, whistling past mossy tombstones?
Ooh. This card's been added to your army and can be found in the command tent. Meve Warhammer. I'm guessing it's an alternate ability for her. In the command tent, you can change Meve's equipped weapon, thus changing her ability. To do this, select Meve in the upper left-hand corner and place one of the ability cards in your deck. Hello. I'm plenty curious about that. Warhammer. The Warhammer crossed with "I'm not accustomed to interruptions" is kind of funny. Move a card in your deck to the top and strengthen it by 3, then trigger all allies' loyal abilities. Cooldown 3. Strengthen increases the base power. It doesn't draw the card, it just moves it to the top of your deck. That means she's basically seeding she's seeding the deck and making it more powerful for next round, unless I have a character that can draw cards from the deck, which I don't think I have a lot of yet. This gives you 4 and 1 armor. So this is technically stronger, but it helps you steamroll the future round as opposed to the current one, which is not a bad ability if you're using a strategy that involves throwing around on purpose. I'll probably wait until I'm more certain that I have, like... What does it look like in the corner, I wonder? Yeah, it changes the picture, too. I'm probably gonna stick with the longsword for now, but when I get the ability to draw cards more consistently from the deck, that definitely would come in handy. I don't think I... That's from the graveyard. And the pikeman only draws itself. I've never drawn the pikeman yet. I guess I've never done a real fight yet, though. It's all been tutorials and puzzles. Play the top blitz unit from your deck. Field medic is not blitz. Wagenberg is not blitz. So pikeman is blitz, drummer, scytheman, arbalist, even the war wagon's a blitz, and both of my main units here. So the drummer crossed with her new ability could mean you could strengthen something by 3 and then play it. Although I still somewhat question the power of strengthening it by 3 as opposed to strengthening it by 4 and giving it an armor. Like, what I have already is definitely pretty strong. We'll see. There might be specific contexts that make more sense later on. Yeah, nothing new. There'll probably be a mark whenever there's something new. Yeah, I'm not really into this upgrade at all. 1 recruit after every battle, 1 versus... Oh yeah, I need the training ground still. And I can afford it now. Let's get it. So now I have these. Regiment drummer, the Rivian pikeman, and the Lyrian arbalist +1. So I already had those, but now I can build them, it looks like. Exclamation point. Ah. It looks like the ones in my deck are already pluses now. So I've just made them better. Ooh. They just gained a new ability, didn't they? Deploy, does the same as before, number of units. Loyal, damage a random enemy nearest to self by 2. So they attack the nearest enemy for 2 damage when loyal's triggered. They didn't have a loyal effect before. That's new. That's important. Other than that, we got the regiment drummer, which the only effect there is that now I can buy another one if I want to. And the pikeman, yeah. So we've increased the variety of ones that we can purchase, but we've also made it so that we straight up have a better unit, and it affected all of our existing ones too. We don't have to buy it separately or anything. Good to know. Also, my resources are totally shot. What are you exclamation pointing right now? Oh, just showing that these guys are here now? There. Are you happy? Practice and improve your skills against an AI opponent. Oh, practice rounds. Not in the biggest hurry for that, but good to know that's there. There we go.